Here live from the streets of New York. We are slightly running to get to go see Six. It is 6:55 and the show starts at 7.
Can't stop it.
We're gonna make it though, it's gonna be great.
Hi, I'm Reba Hervis, Artistic Director at Overshadowed Theatrical Productions. Welcome to this week's episode From the Wings with Rebecca Leland from New York! We are so excited to be back in the city that we love. It's a little rainy and gloomy, and it's definitely colder than we like it to be, but we still had a fantastic day.
It was beautiful. We flew in early in the morning and got to walk around New York before seeing
And shop.
and shopping.
Before seeing
Six
the musical. This musical was written by Toby Marlowe and Lucy Moss, and I had seen it before, but Rebecca had not. And so when we were kind of talking about what shows we'd like to see, we thought, well, this was a nice one to start at. What was the show about?
So the overall synopsis of the story is reclaiming the stories of King Henry VIII's wives, because we all know the little rhyme that we know about his wives, but it's going in and telling
this? Wait,
married,
there's a rhyme?
divorced, died.
Oh, that one. I thought you meant there's like another historical
you're
rhyme.
like, wait, there's more.
I missed something. Okay,
Or I guess, just the way that they
Yes.
passed away or went on, and they just wanted to kind of give a backstory to it.
Yeah.
But they called it a pop musical.
Yes.
And that's pretty much the synopsis.
Well, because part of the story, which is why I didn't love it the first time I saw it, but the idea is that they're looking for who's going to be the leader of the band that they are creating. And the way you get to be the leader of the band is you have to have the worst history of what happened to you.
Worst relationship with King Henry VIII.
Yes.
Yeah, like a little competition. And basically, so the women would be your background singer, while you, as the first queen, second queen, third queen, took your moment to kind of say your piece and kind of share with the audience the truth behind who you are, because a lot of people don't look up the history, which I loved the way that they used their playbill and have a little portion of the history of the actual queens in there. So along with the playbill that has, the synopsis of each actress, they have this little portion, and we'll show it on the screen, a little bit of her story. And that was kind of a cute little play on words they had.
It's kind of like a little bio of of the real person as well. What I thought was really interesting in real history is that the first wife, Catherine, was married to him for almost 24 years.
I didn't know that.
Which was longer than all the rest of the wives were married a total of 14 years together.
Oh my.
So she really was married the longest, and she kind of says that in the musical.
Yeah.
So for me, I think when I went to see it the first time, I expected, even though there's history in there, I expected it to be a little bit more like the story of them, not just this competition. It just threw me off guard, and this time I actually enjoyed it way more, and I know we'll talk about that later, but I could also understand it better the first time I sat really far away. So this is one that I would say if you're going to go see it, closer, it's better to see it closer and see their faces and just get involved in the story a little bit.
Yeah, because we sat in E, and I definitely think because we were so close, we were able, to definitely catch a lot, because it's a heavy song, heavy story musical. And they're pretty much singing the whole time. Yeah. There are little bits where they're talking a little bit of dialogue, but you really need to catch every word.
It is the shortest show on Broadway right now. It runs 80 minutes.
Wow, with no intermission.
No intermission. So, but which is fun, because we're sitting there and we're just enjoying the music, and it didn't get too long.
No, and you're kind of really surprised by their stamina, because they're definitely moving and shaking for the entirety of the time. I think I only saw them going off stage once or twice.
It might have been twice, and I, must have been to just kind of get a drink of water real quick and come back, because they didn't stay off very long.
No, and there are moments that are nice where, like, if the one woman has her solo part of her song, because they do backup dancing and backup vocals, that they were sitting for like a moment, but then pretty much they're on stage the entire time, which that's pretty impressive.
Yeah. So as we're kind of talking about the synopsis of the story, I think it's the best way for me to explain it is I definitely was feeling very Hamilton vibes. Except for it's women now, all women. But also I heard one reviewer say that it was Spice Girls meet Hamilton.
100%.
And I would say that's just a perfect description of what it was like.
The music was it was fun. So I had never wanted to go see Six because I was like, it doesn't look like it really has a story. And that kind of rang true for me. I like a story plot. I don't want to go see a concert. If I want to go see a concert, I'll go see like a specific singer that I want to see. So for me, the story was lacking. It felt like the storyline was just there because someone wrote some really fun songs because they wanted to tell the story of these 6 women, but it didn't like mesh and meld together. There were just moments where I was like, oh, that they're saying the line that gets them to the next song. So like for me, I didn't like the story. It didn't sell me. I wasn't like rooting for anyone.
This actually surprises me so much.
Really?
Because I think that's the very reason I didn't like it the first time I went, right? Because I'm like, wait a minute, I wanted a story about the women. Give me more. Like the fact that I know in history the idea that, okay, so Catherine of Aragon is the first wife, right? And Anne Boleyn is the second one, and the fact that she was actually a lady in waiting for Catherine and catches the eye of the king and is like, no, I don't want to have a relationship with you. I'm only going to do that with somebody that I'm married to. And so he finds a way to get rid of Catherine so that he can marry Anne, and so he actually leaves the Catholic Church because of it, because obviously in the Catholic Church, divorce was not permitted, especially for somebody who's supposed to be the head of the Catholic Church at that particular time. So for me, that's what I wanted, a little bit more of the, how does the story go together? I will say that seeing it the second time,
you liked it.
I enjoyed it more, but I think I went into it more prepared for what it was going to be, and I realized, oh, it's just a concert and it's just fun and it's woman empowerment and you know, let's reclaim our story, because I love one of the things that it says in the end where it's like, well, what other, like when you talk about Henry VI, who was his wife, you know? But because of the fact he was married so many times and these women had such tragic ends, then people know who they are, right?
So I agree about that part. I like that they kind of brought it back around where she was like, wait a second, like, because they were all like, oh, I can't believe this is the only part that people know us, you know? And it's like, no, well, we would be obsolete if
we didn't know this.
If it wasn't part of our story. But all that to say, I totally was just jaw dropped by the vocals. I would say not by
the music, and the music is fun. I think that I remember the first song and the last one, and I really liked them. And then I also like the middle one that Jane Seymour, Kelsey Watts sings. She was amazing.
She was.
As we now start to talk about acting, I definitely had favorite queens. And I know as I was watching her, they have her portrayed in this particular production as one who is more quiet and meek, and that's the way she really was in history. And so when you watch them in the beginning, she definitely was kind of standing off and watching it more ladylike and polite. And then she kind of steps up in the song and she just really powerhouses it through. I thought she really gave a very brilliant portrayal, because she set me up for what she was going to give me and what she was going to say about herself, and I noticed that. I like them all, though. There's not anybody that I really didn't like. It was a really great cast.
I totally agree. There was not a dud. It's like, wow, these women are so talented.
I think that one of the things that's so important in this show is that you have to be able to hear and understand what it is they're saying. And the first time, I could not.
Especially the song where they had the accents. They were singing in like a different accent, the Anne of Cleves song.
Yes, I think that was played by Crystal Hernandez.
Yes, and like if you had no chance of really hearing it beforehand, like during that song specifically, they had to be very specific. And even us sitting very close, you were like, I'm catching half of it.
Yes.
Because that's hard. Like accents are hard. Oh my word.
And let's face it, there's a lot of times that you can just go to a concert.
Oh, yeah.
And not understand what they're saying.
Oh, 100%.
So I don't think it's like a slam against them. It's because it's a concert.
And the people were there for it.
Oh my goodness. The crowd.
Oh my word.
Like they were waiting for their favorite queen.
Yes.
Yeah.
So singing, literally phenomenal. The women were 10 out of 10. The high notes specifically that she, like all of them, like really. But the Heart of Stone song that you mentioned, like it gave us goosebumps. Like
she was so good.
Oh my word! Like every woman, they had their moment and they killed their moment, and it was phenomenal.
There was no weak queen.
No. And then the dancing, going into the choreography, it was very crisp. I was so impressed. Like coming off of Joseph and the Technicolor Dreamcoat and Overshadowed, like understanding like how to get crispness. You're like, oh, that's impressive. And then you see these 6 women like as one. You're just like, wow.
Yeah. The thing I was like, oh. Gosh,
yes.
This choreography is stunning.
Yes.
I enjoyed it.
Yes, and maybe it's because we were closer to, because they would just do like very sharp, small movements that were just together and pow. And the choreographer, Carrie Ann Ingrulli, just out of the ballpark.
So good.
You could tell they had fun even dancing it, but I'm sure she had fun putting it together. Yes.
Yeah, and entertaining. And when you're at a concert,
yes,
it's hard to figure out what you're going to do. You only have 6 wives. You don't have anybody else that's coming in, and you have to do something that's different to watch every time for every song. And I
loved it.
Loved it.
Yeah. And it was fun too, because actually, so the 6 wives and the only other people on stage was the band, which I thought was so fun. And they would like call, and like a concert, they would call the band out and then have the audience clap for like the drummer and the pianist. And I thought that was a fun touch to add them to the stage. I only looked at them a couple times, but they added to the stage, because I would say the stage was smaller. What did you think of the staging in general?
It was like a concert. Yeah. So I thought it was really nice. They had a very scenic, I don't even know what to say. It's not really a set, and it's not really a backdrop, but they had lights in the back that were framed so that when they went back, and they had stairs so that they could kind of sit in the middle of the band while whatever queen was taking the lead at that particular time could kind of either be behind them with them looking at them, or walk down the stairs and walk closer to the audience. It was nice. I mean,
simple.
It's not like it's going to win any award. I liked it.
And it was unique in the way that it's like basically LEDs that they just like strung, to make it. But it was shaped like stained glass, which I thought was kind of fun, and it kind of brought you back to the era, and it was kind of like an ode to. Yeah. And the different levels were cool, because they basically had different levels that the women could kind of go on.
Always love levels when I'm directing or an audience member.
Yes.
So it's just
makes it
more
level.
Interesting. Exactly. Yes. In fact, our set designer, will know that I'll be like, is there any way I can get, do what you're doing, but give me some levels.
More levels.
Okay, and so just hand in hand with that is the lighting. What do you think?
I thought it was very well done. There was a moment where I was literally warm.
Really?
Because they did like, "Dah!" And I was like, whoa, there are so many lights on stage. I think it was the last song where they were going hard and going ham. I liked the lighting. I don't like the spotlights, actually. The spotlights threw me. And I don't know why.
Like the strobe spotlights?
No, like whenever they would spot the woman, I don't know why, but maybe, I don't know. I really don't know why, because I think it's because I noticed the spotlight, but I do think that was actually a part because it's a concert they wanted you to.
Yeah.
But normally, good lighting is the lighting that enhances the show and you actually don't notice it. So it's one of those like catch-22s where you're like, oh, as a lighting person, you actually want nobody to know you were there.
So I guess it all comes down to whether you want to consider this a theatrical production, or whether you want to consider it a concert. Because
I would rate it differently.
It crosses. So if it's a concert, then the stage lighting is beautiful.
They did right.
I gotta say it was good.
Okay, so I wouldn't say it was bad. It's just I noticed it. Again, not going to win any awards.
All right, now let's talk about the thing that probably is an award winner: the costumes.
I thought they were scandalous. I definitely, personally, there was a lot of
skin.
A lot of skin in places I don't think we're supposed to be seeing it. I thought it was interesting. I thought there was leather. It was strappy. It was meant to be women empowerment. I think they got across what they wanted to, and it was, here are some beautiful women, all different body shapes, and you're going to see a lot of their body shapes. Intricate, fun, but I think too revealing. What do you think about that costume, James?
First of all, before I comment on the revealing part of it, I think they were gorgeous. So they're definitely very different with their metallic and the leather and the glitter.
Yeah.
I mean, they're jaw-dropping, gorgeous, and different. For me personally, I agree. I saw too much of some of the girls. And so I guess it depends on where your standards are.
Yeah.
If I had a young son, and I would not take him to go see this because of that. I feel like it would open his eyes to things that I would not be ready for him to see. Do you feel like there are life lessons from this musical that you would be happy taking your young daughter to go see?
Me?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I thought it was unnecessarily raunchy. I think I knew it wasn't, and I kept telling people, they were like, what'd you think of it? I said, it's not for me. Because as far as like what I believe, I don't believe you need raunchy. There was a lot of sexual humor. There was a lot of, I was horrified personally as a single woman by their flippancy with miscarriages.
Yeah. That is interesting though, but I did not take it as being flippant. I took it as, I felt the power of it. It's like, well, look, a lot of us have had it, and, yes, you're saying your life was hard because you had 3. Let me tell you whose life was really hard. I had 5. Think about how hard that was. So it didn't feel flippant to me, so it's really interesting.
I think it wouldn't have been if they would have been dressed in, like, period garments, but I think the fact that they were in leather straps, yelling at each other with, bedazzled microphones, I was like, in my heart, I'm like, I don't think this is the best method to be sharing this. Like, I do think that they could have done a really great job if someone sat down and said, I want to tell the story of these 6 wives. I want to hear the story of the 6 wives.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to do more research into them and like see who they really were, because I think that's cool. And I do think, there are messages that we need to share, like when it comes to miscarriages. But I just felt like the way that they were tying it up and presenting it, I was like, this makes me uncomfortable. So like, if I had a daughter, I'd say, like, yes, these are things we should learn and things that we should be interfacing with, but I don't think this is the best way. So it wasn't feminine, it was like feminist, and there's a big difference between saying this is what a woman is and this is what we want women to be, and I felt like it was more feminist, where it was like, I don't know, it didn't leave me with a good taste.
Yeah, and I agree, and that might be part of why I didn't like it the first time either. I do think the message for young daughters is something that's so important for us as moms to want to make sure that in a world that is constantly bombarding us with all these different messages. So I do think we have a responsibility to craft the narrative that is around us, and to make sure that we expose our children to things at the time that we can, as you were saying, you can kind of interface about, I think that's the word you use, that you can interface with your child. Like, I think sometimes we do that at Overshadowed too. Sometimes we can have a play that is a little bit more hard-hitting than another one, because we want to open the door to be able to have a conversation. But you as a parent also have to know when your child is ready for that. And sometimes people ask me, in fact, they've asked me that about the show that we're doing now, and they're like, is it appropriate for families? And I'm like, well, I can't answer that, because it depends on your family and how sensitive your children are.
One of the queens was like 13 years old when her story started, and she was taken advantage of by men. And the song that she sang, that's the one that I would never bring a child to, because she's literally talking about. And
she's actually probably most people's favorite queen too, don't you think? Because she's like cute,
because she's adorable, and her huge pink ponytail. But it's domestic violence and abuse and child abuse, and
in real life, actually, that queen didn't even make it till she was 17. Like, he beheaded her when she was 17. So it's like,
that's where
this is dark stuff, people.
And I do believe in there is a way to bring, like you said, Overshadowed. You can bring heavy things in a beautiful way, but in a respectful way. I felt like they brought some really heavy things
and made it fun.
Right, which I think there's a time for fun, there's a time we should, but if you can't do both. Either make it fun and then kind of maybe not bring in these insanely heavy things. Right, so I think if you're going in with that, I think going in to see an award-winning, everything, just incredible set, sound, lyrics, storyline, I would say no. I would say personally, I enjoyed the show, but I didn't like the show. But if you're going because you want to, you've heard the soundtrack, you think the songs are great, you really like the energy, I still would say no, but I think I didn't like that. I was like, ooh, there's too much raunchiness, there's too much sexuality, there's too much like language.
Yeah, and I'm sure, because I know that I have friends that like love this musical, and so I know you guys are probably going to be like really upset about our review, but we got to tell it as we see it, and you know, you can choose to take our information and say, I don't think that would bother me. More power to you.
So what would you say overall would you rate, and why?
I think I'm going to give it a 7.
Okay. Wow.
Is it a lot higher than you thought?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think when I saw it last time, I would have given it a 3. So I'm really torn. I think I'm giving it a 7 because of how much more I liked it, probably. I just don't think it's necessarily for me. It doesn't mean that it is not done well. So for an overall production, experience, story, everything, taking things into consideration, I think I'd give it a 7.
Wow. Yeah, I think I give it a 2.
Yeah.
I think and that's a generous 2. And I think I'm giving it a 2 because what they did well.
Yeah.
The singing, phenomenal. The different songs, well written. The costumes, you saw that what they wanted to portray, and they portrayed that with excellence. I give it a 2 because I did not like what they portrayed. I do not like the story. I think the songs are raunchy and kind of nasty for no reason. But I guess their reason, it was for their vision. So I didn't like 6, and I think I knew I wasn't going to like it.
It's so
but
funny,
I wanted to.
When we were walking out last night, and she said, this conversation we're going to have is going to be so interesting, I was like, I'm so shocked, because I really thought she was gonna, because she's a musician, and I thought she was gonna love the women and their vocals and how they whatever you call that when your voice goes.
Riffing. Yeah, and they riff.
I thought you were gonna love that, and so I thought, oh my goodness, I thought you were gonna look at me and go, how could you have not?
How could you not love it?
But
it's hard. But
she did not.
Yeah. Because I think for me, it's not how you do it. Like the way you do things, like you have to do it with excellence, but it's what you're doing it. And I think for me, these women had incredible voices, incredible characters, but because they put these beautiful voices behind a story that I think is poorly written, it took away from their ability. So I would love to see these women in another show. I would love to see them like sing these power ballads for a show that I think is worthwhile. But I think overall for what the show is for 6, I think it was a waste of talent.
Well, we have many more shows to see and lots more shows in our future. The question will be, tell us, number 1, how we were wrong and what it is that you like about 6. And number 2, what shows are in your future? Remember always, please, to like and subscribe and follow us and watch our videos, because you can share them with other people who need to be in the know about what's going on. And make sure that you press that little bell up there so that you will always see the notification that we have a new episode coming out every Tuesday.
And until next time, it's just me
and me
talking to you from the wings. From New York!